Hi, I'm Nayara with 360 Precision, Ask the Gunsmith series. And I'm here with Dan and Braxton, and we are ready to answer some of the questions you sent us in the last few weeks. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you can get all the updates. This would help us tremendously, and we'll continue to answer your questions as you send them to us. So I have a few here for you guys today. And those are very popular questions, especially among, the rifle shooters. This question is, what is a Wildcat cartridge, guys?
So a Wildcat cartridge is anything that is not a SAMI spec cartridge that you can go buy off the shelf. Your 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 223 Remington, stuff like that. So a good example would be like 6 Comet. 7 PRCW, which is a 6.5 PRC modified to a 7mm. They're used in a lot of, like, your F-class, your PRS guys use a lot of different Wildcats. You're going to be stuck hand loading for them. You're not going to be able to buy them off the shelf.
Yeah, typically they start with a parent cartridge.
Yep.
Right, so there is a SAMI spec that it starts with, and then it's a modification on that to make some sort of improvements, right? So you're basically looking at, hey, we take a parent cartridge, we make changes to it, and if that eventually, sometimes those cartridges become popular enough that they actually become standard SAMI spec rounds and ammunition, and then like you'll see that Hornady will pick up a round or pick up a caliber that now this is what we're going to shoot, or this is what we're going to start making. So you have Wildcats, which it's a lot of in the precision shooting world, a lot of people shoot Wildcat cartridges. For whatever reason, it just seems to be almost no one shoots. For whatever reason,
everyone likes to spend time at the reloading bench.
We like to make it hard on ourselves, I think, is really what it comes down to. We don't like things easy. So, so typically you have the major manufacturers, when they start beginning to produce that cartridge, it becomes SAMI spec, and then that basically ends the Wildcat. You can obviously still hand load for it if you want, and there's a lot of people, you can 6.5 Creedmoor, you can hand load for that, or reload for it even. But you don't have to make any modifications to your case. So that's really the difference is that you end up making modifications. So there's a popular one, P.O. Ackley improved cases. AI, if you ever see something that says like 223 AI or BRA or something like that, that typically means Ackley improved. So what that typically gives you in a cartridge, it increases the velocity, and that's the reason in PRS why we typically look for those Wildcat cartridges. We look for, out of a smaller case, to get a little bit more velocity out of it. The issue becomes that now you have to what's called fire form, typically that brass. So you'll take that parent cartridge and you will change its dynamic and fire form it. That's typically then modifying the shoulder and sometimes the length. Like if you go from a 6BR to a 6 dasher, you're going to blow out that case. So basically from the shoulder, you're going to take it up 100 thousandths, right? I believe it's 100 thousandths is what it blows out. And then you take the angle of the neck from 30 degrees to 40 degrees. So it's basically it's a flatter neck.
It sounds very complex. So what you're saying, let me see if I got this right. You get a parent cartridge, a standard cartridge, and you just slightly modify it for better performance.
Yeah, you're giving the case more volume and a steeper shoulder angle.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Yeah, fire forming is not fun. Like I used to have to do that back. So I shot a lot of 6 dasher back in the day, and that was before. So it used to be a 6 dasher that wasn't made, like you couldn't get head stamped brass in 6 dasher. Now there's head stamped brass in 6 dasher. So you can just go and buy it. You don't have to fire form it. But basically what you would do, I think we talked about this in one of the previous videos, where basically we fire form. Oh yeah, it's with the Joe podcast. Mm-hmm. So we took basically what we talk about in that one is we take a 6BR. I used at the time, there were a couple different ways, but it's called a cream of wheat method. You put pistol powder in, you put a primer in to your 6BR case, you put pistol powder in, you fill the rest of it with cream of wheat, literally. And then you pack the end of it. You don't put a round or anything into it. You put a piece of tissue or paper. I used to use like little pieces of paper towel and just stuff it in the end to hold everything in. I would go to the range and I would sit there and I would just put the cartridge in, shoot it. And it would basically, because the chamber had already been the chamber on the rifle had been chambered to that round to 6-dasher. So then the brass would just blow out and expand the chamber. It typically would take 2 fire formings to get it to be kind of perfect. But after the first one, it was good enough that I could shoot it at that point. So now I had ammunition I could load, standard, and go shoot.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It was it is ridiculously time consuming. I mean, so many people went to 6-dasher, particularly once they came out with a head stamp brass.
Yeah.
That was a big turning point for people shooting more people shooting dasher, because at least you didn't have to fire form. You still have to hand load, but at least you didn't have to fire form the brass to get to the. And then that piece of brass, man, I would search in the grass. I would.
You don't want to lose that brass.
You don't want to lose. Like that took me 20 minutes to get that piece of brass. I am not losing it.
Digging through the
rocks.
rocks.
So this was a few years ago. So now can we find those cartridges, the
Some
modified?
Of them, as they become more popular, so that 6-dasher became popular enough that Alpha started making head stamped 6-dasher brass.
Thank God.
Yeah. And another big one that got picked up was 22 Creedmoor. You can now go to the store, buy Hornady loaded ammo of 22 Creedmoor right off the shelf. You don't got a hand load for it
Talk
anymore.
a little more about that. What is a 22 Creedmoor?
It's originally started, a lot of the predator hunters use it. They took a 6.5 Creedmoor and necked it down to a 22 cal. And a bunch of guys started using it. Industry noticed it. Hornady came out with factory loaded ammo for it. It is super spicy, real fast.
Thank God.
Yeah, it's like your 22 250.
It's
like an
equivalent.
Hotter. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be kind of the closest equivalent to what people used to shoot, and the 22 Creed is kind of the newer hotness.
Okay.
Yeah, the new hotness.
The new hotness.
Alrighty. Well, there's another one here. Very popular question again, guys. If you have any questions, please send us and ask whatever you want. And those
put
guys
them in those comments.
Yeah,
right?
put on those.
We love the comments.
Put on the comments and the video, social media, and we're gonna be answering in the next videos. Next one, very popular question: what is the best caliber for precision rifle series competition? What is the best caliber?
That's like
it's probably the most popular question we get.
Like I want to build a custom rifle. What do you want to? What caliber you want to put it in? And it's like, what do you think? Mm-hmm. Like that's honestly what we've gotten back to. So just to be honest with people, I typically tell people what are you thinking about, because most people don't want to hear what we actually have to say. They just want a confirmation of what they already have in their head, which is fine. Because honestly, any cut that's done by us or a good credible gunsmith, it's gonna shoot. It's gonna shoot half MOA. If you get a half MOA gun, for the most part, you're not missing a target because of the round you were shooting. It's simply you're missing because of you.
Yep.
I mean, maybe you hand loaded it wrong and you double loaded some got a nice spicy
accidental duplex load.
Broke your shoulder.
But there's no real correct answer there. Some calibers have perks and disadvantages, but
want to talk a little about that?
Well, so like with PRS in particular, we want heavy guns, low recoil, because we're trying to spot our misses when we miss. So you need to be able to see where that bullet impacts at. So like 308 will work perfectly fine, but it's going to have more recoil than a 6BR or a 6 Creedmoor, something like that. So there's things.
223, as long as you shoot under, is it 77 grain?
I think it's 77 grain. You have
as long as you're in a different class as well. You're in tactical class, so 308 as well.
Under 77 grain?
77 grain in the 223, and 308.
I think it's 175.
Is it 1? I was going to say it's 168, but 170. Whatever. You just look it up in the rule book. But yeah, so each season, like the top shooters will start like coming out with the new IT caliber. Mm-hmm. Really, they're just. I don't care if I give any of the guys. I'm not going to go mention names, but if I mention any of the top 10 guys, we'll mention Ryan back since he was on one of the podcasts, right? So if I give Ryan, I don't care what, I give him a 6.5 Creedmoor with standard factory, and he would beat me at. Yep. I could be shooting whatever cartridge. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter. I mean, you have Doug Koenig out there shooting for. I think he still shoots for Ruger.
I think so. Yeah.
Shooting 6 Creed, I think is what he shoots out of that rifle, and dude, he's gonna beat me every day. Like every day, it doesn't matter what caliber I shoot. Not to say, again, it can help. It can help me be a better shooter, because if I have a 6 Creed versus like a 6BR, which is what I compete with, that has less recoil, so it does help me. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's who's the better shooter.
Yeah,
like the caliber is not making you the better shooter. The time that you practice and the time that you spend at the range shooting is what makes you perform better. Caliber can help somewhat, but we've had this conversation with a number of guys, and it's like, look, if I can shoot a 308 particularly, then I can shoot anything.
Yeah.
Right? I don't need to be on the IT cartridge that's out. Like every year it's 6-dasher, then it's 6BR, then it's 6BRA, then it's 22 GT, 6 GT, 25x47 is this year's new like little.
So if I ask you like the top 5, it changes every year pretty much.
Oh yeah.
Every
There's
season.
the Precision Rifle Series blog that's out there that you can go on, and they actually track like the top PRS shooters.
Okay.
And they'll actually go and tell you, okay, so what, percentage of the top, I think they go the top 100 shooters, they go look through, and they do a whole graph. It's really cool. And if you want to see it and know like what are they shooting, but again, honestly, if I give them any cartridge, it doesn't matter. They can switch every year. The only reason that I particularly like to shoot 6BR year over year after year, because I just know that cartridge. I know my wind hold. I know if I somehow screwed up my dope, I would know at 400 yards that I'm at 1.8 mils. I just know 400 yards, I can dial 1.8, and it might be 1.7 because of wind or elevation, wherever I'm at. But if I know pretty much within a tenth of a lot of my distances that I might have to go. So like if you screw up, like I had this happen, and I was able to basically, because I had the wrong profile on my Kestrel, I went and wrote all my dope down wrong. I was able to correct, because I kind of knew where I needed to be once I realized that I had the wrong dope written down. I was able to correct because I just know the cartridge so well. So for wind calls and so forth, that's why I like to stick with the same cartridge year after year after year. It makes sense.
Absolutely.
You get to know, and that's why guys like 308. It's like 308. I just know. I just know it. I know what my wind is going to be at whatever distance and speed.
I can't imagine every season having to change your cartridge, your grain and everything, and has to adjust your gun over and over again. Yeah,
some guys have fun. I mean, it is. I did it
challenging
a lot. Yeah, I mean, well, you shoot different calibers. It's cool. Like you go, oh, this is the new hotness that's out every season, and it's like, okay, it's cool. But you really do want to ask yourself, what's your budget? Number one, because reloading is going to cost time, right? And it's going to cost
money, powder, bullets.
You start looking at all those things. So do you really want to reload? Because I spent a whole season. This was before the big C word. And I spent a whole season shooting 6 Creedmoor when it was, I think I was getting it for like $28 a box. It was great.
Yeah, Burger ammunition.
It was Burger ammunition. It was awesome. I loved that. That was back in the day. It was great. So I shot a whole season with 6 Creedmoor, and I would love rolling up to the match, emptying my boxes. Like I just had brand new boxes, and I would just put them in my pouch. Everyone else has got their hand loads that they've done. I'm like, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I was up all late last night loading, and
Factory,
I'm like, I just threw this in the car this morning. I just the box
threw a
came
case of ammo in the car and drove up here.
That's great.
So, and then you want to know like how much recoil is acceptable. Obviously, 6 Creed versus 6BR. That was the whole reason that the next season I did switch to 6BR. You also couldn't get the 6 Creed anymore that next year.
And it went up significantly.
It's about double now.
Oh,
It's at $28. It's at least $49, $45, $49 now.
It's
almost double.
Unfortunate, but that's kind of what happened. And it's always just going to come down to it's better to be at the range practicing than it is to be at the reloading bench, right? You will become a much better shooter shooting than you will reloading.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the way it goes.
That
so
makes
picking
sense.
the best caliber, do it if you have fun. If you have a lot of time and free time and you love, some people just love reloading. Some people love sitting at that reloading bench and just reloading. Hey,
have at it.
Throwing on the 360 Precision podcast and reloading away.
There you go.
Just watch our podcast.
For you guys watching while you reload, make sure to keep watching 360 Precision channel. Like and subscribe too. All right. So another one. Very similar question. So what can I do to improve my rifle's accuracy? So what can be done? Can I improve the rifle accuracy?
Yeah. So like if you've got like a factory, let's say like a Remington 700.
Okay.
There's definitely some things you can do to help it. The biggest thing is probably going to be throwing away the factory stock and putting on a good chassis or a good stock. If you are putting it in a stock like a Macmillan or a Manor or something like that.
And we talked about the difference between stocks and chassis in the last episode.
So chassis don't need to bed. If you're putting it into a stock, bedding it is another major improvement you can do to help the accuracy. Upgrading the trigger to help your trigger pull out, so you're not trying to pull a 6-pound factory trigger.
And if you have a Remington, there's a lot of options. If you have a Tikka, there's options. Savages, there's options. Not as many. But,
Then going a little more into depth, if you don't want to just change a stock out, say you want to do a little more work to the rifle, you can obviously, we can take the factory barrel off, a good gunsmith, ourselves, someone else. They can do what we call blueprinting the action.
Okay.
So what you do is we either put it in a machine. Some guys have some jigs they use. You reface the front of the action so it's perfectly true. You recut the threads. You clean up the recoil lug face.
Pause. You've been talking a lot about improvements. Wouldn't it be better just to buy a custom rifle?
So there is a point where you put so much money into it. And yes, it will shoot as good as a full custom build. But it's still going to feel like a Remington 700 at the end of the day. So a lot of times when guys come in and they say, oh, I want to completely rebuild this 700. I want to blueprint it, new barrel, new stock, new chassis. It's like, okay, we can do that for you if you want. But there's some really good, like $1,000, $800, $1,000 price range custom actions out there nowadays that it would probably be more beneficial to go that route and do a full custom build.
Or, you just come to 360 Precision and start one from scratch.
But now say, like, you got sentimental value in the action or something.
That's really the reason I tell most people. Like, if there's like, hey, I shot my first whitetail with this, or when I was 12 years old or something like that, like, and you just want to pass it down to your kid and take them out, and it's like, but I just want it to shoot better. Okay, I completely understand why you wanted to, improve it and not get rid of that, because there's some nostalgia, there's sentimental value to that rifle. Hey, let's accurize it and run it through a blueprint process. And when Braxton was talking about truing the face, so basically there's the bore that's going through, which is where your bolt's going to slide through. So basically we align that perfectly in the lathe, and then so that it's a perfect face against that, so then that's how we face it. So that's and then you would also face the bolt the same way, so that everything is basically perfectly perpendicular to one another, and that's what's going to help improve accuracy on that gun. Plus, then the barrel then gets matched up with all of that, and then you get this true what basically you've remade it into how a custom action would have fit and would have been. So that's really what you get. When you go through that whole process, it just becomes very expensive to do all the things. And again, it might not. It's never going to be as good as what you could have built. So we always have that saying of buy once, cry once.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sometimes it's just like, hey, maybe it's $800 more or something like that to get the custom, but you only have to do that once, hopefully.
Yeah.
You can also, I don't know if you mentioned bed the action.
Yep.
So. Which in certain, like in a chassis, that's not really that necessary. But if you went to a stock, that is going to sometimes be an option that you can.
What does that mean exactly?
Bed the action. Bedding, what we do, it's basically a 2-part epoxy.
Okay.
So we mix up the bedding compound. We put a release agent on the action, the recoil lug, any surface that's going to be in contact with that. You put a fairly light coat into the stock where the action is going to sit.
Okay.
And then you bolt everything back together. And then it sits overnight, cures. You come in the next day, you pop the action screws out, pull the barrel action out, and you now have a perfect match of the action in the stock. So it doesn't have room to get jostled around in there and move around during transport. When you take it apart and put it back together, it's going to go back together the exact same way. So it basically
you're trying to get no stress between the stock and the action. So when you tighten those screws down, there's absolutely no stress. It's not it's very, when I do this, it's not like that, but it's there's very small thousandths of an inch that when you start to crank this down, that this actually pulls that down slightly. That will cause accuracy issues in a rifle. So basically by bedding it, you make a perfect fit.
Yep.
Wow.
So stress-free fit. Yep. So that's why we'll bed in action. So kind of the long and short of making a rifle better.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can go to Magpul, you can get a Magpul, it just depends on your price range. You can go from expensive chassis to inexpensive.
There's $500 chassis, there's $2,000 chassis.
Yes.
Yep.
Again, the options are endless.
Oh, there's a ton of them now.
Right?
Yep.
A lot of times it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, I did it in the very beginning before we did this whole company and so forth back in whenever. I took like a Christensen arms. I lapped the barrel. I mean, I had all these things done to it, and in the end, it was like completely worthless because I realized that it was just not the right tool for the game.
Like,
right?
like it shoots well.
I got it to finally shoot well. Yeah,
but it still feels like that same rifle you bought. Yeah, that same.
It was just not meant for PRS. So then you go and you build the PRS. So then I had my
use first, right?
No, my first action. So shout out to Brian Allen down in Alabama. Built my first custom rifle for me. He's the one that I blame for getting me into all of this. So if Brian ever watches this, Brian, it's all your fault. I did tell him that one time when I was down there at a training and said that this is all your fault. But yeah, so he built my first. It was a Curtis.
Oh, Curtis. Okay.
This was 2018, I want to say, something like that. So I had a Curtis action, which is what he was using at the time. I did a Manor stock. I forget what barrel it was. It was a Krieger, a Bartland. I think maybe a Bartland barrel. One of the good barrels. Yeah. I don't even remember the trigger that was on it at this point. I put a Collis scope onto it. Basically, I feel like I at least did it right. I went to Brian. Brian was like, "Look, what do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me." Like, so he's like, "Well, I use Curtis." I said, "Okay, that's the action I want." He's like, "What caliber you want?" I said, "I don't really reload currently. At the time, I didn't reload. I did shotgun, but I didn't do rifle. So I'm like, but I would like to get into that. I'd like to learn about it and so forth. So we went 6-dasher. I got the nickname Dasher Dan. That I back then. What's that now? 8 years ago. Wow, it's a long time. So yeah, I shot 6-dasher. He's like, "What do you want? You know, what barrel length do you want?" I think he said, "Look, 24 and 26 were the two real common ones back then." He's like, I cut him to 25. I'm like, "Cool, 25, do it." So I literally just said, "Whatever you think or whatever's the best, do it." And then he would say, "Yep, yep." And I just went, "Yep, yep, yep." And he actually asked, because you can still bet a custom rifle too. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Do you want me to bet it?" I'm like, "Is it worth it?" He's like, "Not really," because at the time it still had the mini chassis from Manners in it. And I went, "No, if you don't think it's necessary, then don't bet it." So we didn't bet it. Ended up selling that rifle to Guy, and then eventually Guy sold it, which he regrets tremendously. I actually regret selling that because so an action that gets used a lot, like once it's got thousands and thousands of rounds through it, they get so smooth. It's the biggest mistake that people think. Like sometimes buying a used action is really good because you get an action that's kind of worked in and it's been lapped and basically it's been lapped upon itself. So as long as there's no functionality problem with the action and somebody's just maybe just upgrading, wants a different action for whatever reason, those are some good action. I know there's guys that have like Defiance actions that are like 10 years old and they just are butter.
Oh yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. They're just so smooth to run.
Yeah. I
have mine. I the reason I always go back to my one particular rifle is it's just because the action just runs so smooth. I don't want to shoot a new action and start breaking that action in and having to go through thousands of rounds to get it to where it really is broken in.
We've cut a lot of barrels for that action.
I bet.
Yeah, it's gone through a number of changes.
So there you go. So now you guys are the Allens, so people come to you and just ask for a recommendation.
Yeah, and if you want to know exactly what what we would we'll ask you all those same questions. We'll say, because we're going to ask you. We don't know. It's not the best caliber. It's the best caliber for you.
Yes.
Right. It's what can you reload? If you can't, I have a friend that I built a rifle for, and he doesn't reload. I said 6 Creedmoor. If you want a low recoil, we'll build a heavier rifle like it's PRS, but we're going to do it in 6 Creed. You can go buy. He doesn't care what the ammunition costs. So look, it's perfect, right? So I want to just be able to shoot. I want to be able to go out and shoot to distance. I mean, we talked about this in one of the other ones that I took 6 Creed and shot at a mile. People think like, you can't shoot. Like, no, man, that cartridge will get out there. Believe me. So, and it's great because it's fun to shoot still. Yeah. It doesn't have a lot of recoil when you put it into a 22, 23 pound rifle.
Yeah, your shoulder's not going to hurt at the end of the day.
It's fun to shoot. It's great. It's accurate. It's like a laser basically because it's fast. So it's just a great shooting round, and you can build it around what your capabilities are, what you're looking for, and that's
your budget. What are you doing? Your budget,
what you're doing. Again, because everybody's going to be different. I want to reload. Oh, well then let's go with different. What do you want to reload? What do you think that you want to reload? And we can go from there. So.
There we go. So you asked, we answered. Keep asking those questions. Again, put on the comments, social media, YouTube, and we'll answer those questions for you. Thank you again for watching one more episode of...
Yeah, we like the hate comments too.
Yeah, they're fantastic. The trolls are great.
Yeah, just keep.
That is entertaining.
If you don't like us, just keep. I read those at night and I go to bed and laugh. So
for the haters out there, please keep trolling and we'll keep answering, or maybe not. We'll just ignore and laugh on the on the back. Thank you again for joining us.
And make sure you check out these other two videos.
These two videos
from our page, and we would really appreciate all the continued support that you guys continue to give us. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.